Hi everybody, I'm Dwayne Miller with Penn State's Field and Forage Crops team. We are out in the field today. We're going to talk to you a little bit about mowing hay. We're out here with what's called a discbine, but I'll start by talking about a little of the evolution of cutting hay. It's come a long way since the first days of cutting by hand and then using something with horses called a sickle mower that mows the hay off almost like a scissors. And we've come to the point where we're using things like a disc mower that we have here today. This is PTO driven by the power takeoff shaft on the tractor. We're going to move from front to back on the machine and talk to you a little bit about how it works. So you'll see it's pivoted to the side. The operator on the tractor is usually sitting to the left of this unit. This particular unit is something called a center pivot. So you see the tongue is in the middle there. That tongue can be swung back and forth either direction to allow for ease of mowing. So that drive line comes into the center here, and then we'll show you underneath here. Like I said, this is called a disc mower. So there's individual modules along the entire cutter bar unit. Each of these spin extremely fast to cut that hay. You have two blades on each one of these turtles, they'll call them. They'll spin at a very fast speed to clip that hay off. That hay then is taken from that cutter bar unit, and the air movement, the turbulence that's created by those spinners, forces that hay up and into what's called conditioning rolls. So this unit again has intermeshed conditioning rolls. You see these protrusions on these rolls, they mesh together, and as that hay passes through, it allows it to crimp part of that stem if it's alfalfa. Some units have fingers on them that rub and condition grass crops. So we're out here in an alfalfa field today, and this is an ideal mower for this type of, it's actually an alfalfa grass mixture, but for an alfalfa field, we'd recommend a unit like that that conditions it. We're going to move to the back of the unit now. And again, it'll come out of these conditioning rolls and onto this plate where you can adjust how tall or down to the ground that comes out. And the final thing that's adjustable are these windrow shields. So depending on our field conditions and depending on the thickness of the crop, we might adjust that. A good example is we've had a very, very wet spring. And if we have these set way far out wide, that doesn't allow our ground to dry off and get some air movement. So typically this spring we would advise people, we're gonna adjust these at a narrow windrow, get it thin, let the ground dry out, and then we'll spread it apart with something called a tedder. So that's just a little bit of an overview of the cutting process of the discbine.